Okay, episode 9. Muffy the Werewolf Slayer. Sound familiar? It's really weird this episode is called Muffy the Werewolf Slayer when the first thing you see is the cold open and you get this. The villain is not Muffy, really. It's a soul-sucking encyclopedia salesman. Yes, I'm always thrown off by this episode when I knew about it, but I'm always thrown off by it because it starts with the salesman showing up, and they're like, the one thing we're afraid of is the door-to-door salesman, and he shows up. It's an actor I've seen before. He got like the bald head with the back, and he kind of talks like this. You know, I'm a soul sucker. I suck souls. That sort of thing. It's one of those actors that you've seen in a lot of things. You can't, figure out the name, but. Yes, and so that's one of the plots in this is that he's going around sucking the souls out of people. He does it to Tommy's mom, Tommy's dad, and eventually Stacy off screen. We see him suck the souls of the mom and the dad, and then Stacy is done off screen for some reason because they couldn't fit into the episode, I guess. This is a weird one, a different sort of plot because Tommy and Merton are basically separated for most of the episode, as Merton has a lady caller in the form of Vesper, this goth chick, or so we like to believe, that is all about werewolves and talking to him as she found him off his werewolf site, werewolfsreal.com or something like that. A website for that, I don't know. But, basically questioning him, and it's all to get the name, eventually flirting with him, and he's focused on her for the majority of the episode, and then she eventually coerces him into telling him who the Pleasantville werewolf is, which we're in episode 9, and there hasn't really been much of a mention, except for Tim and Travis, and not a lot of people believe them. Hugo's only in a party episode where Merton goes to talk about the new student Vesper, and he looks up the old computer, which is his head, and can't find any transfer student named Vesper. So there's something going on. It's revealed she's a vampire hunter, and she tries to kill Tommy, as Tommy's about to try to stop the evil salesman, the soul-sucking salesman. And that's where the two plots converge, as Tommy basically on his own trying to figure this out. His mom is kind of bland. There's a weird effect. When they're just by themselves, they take all the color out of them, so it looks okay. But when Tommy finds out that Stacy had her soul sucked out, she's white, black and white next to him, and it's a weird uncanny valley kind of effect. It looks off to me. But he eventually confronts the guy who's just sitting at the factory. And he's like, hey, I want to buy some of those encyclopedias. And he's like, oh, one thing is, it's all about eye contact. You got to stare into his eyes, and he hypnotizes you, and he takes your soul, touching you, grabbing you, or something. I don't know. But he's like, I want some now. And he's like, why don't you come with me? And then they fight in the graveyard, I guess. And that's when Muffy shows up and tries to kill him. Or Vesper. She's still Vesper at this point. Tries to kill him. And Merton's there to try to save the day. And Tommy wolfs out. And the way that they get the souls out is he basically gives the guy a Heimlich because he has indigestion. You see it throughout the episode. He keeps going, he's burping. Gives him the Heimlich, and all the souls come out and are freed. Dean doesn't get taken, which is weird. Although all he does is sit and watch TV, so there's not really much difference with that. But he doesn't get taken. I think some other people get taken, but it's mostly just the two parents and Stacy. Those are involved in the plot. And I started to realize watching this, I'm like, Stacy hasn't. I went to, empty the fuel gauge, so to speak. I went to use the restroom, and I was in there, and I walked in, and I realized Stacy hasn't been in much this episode. And after I came back out, she had her soul sucked, and it's like, this seems like they went, hey, Stacy's not in this episode, so we gotta figure out a way to put her in there and just like, let's have her soul sucked, but not on screen. Just have her walk up to Tommy and, hi, Tommy. It's like, it's weird because we see the other two, but we don't see her. So it's very weird how that would happen, but it's also weird how he would sell to both the mayor and the mom, the dad and the mom, because isn't it supposed to be one set per house? But he's trying to sell, and then when Tommy comes, he's ready to sell to him too. It's about getting souls, but you think it would be like one set per house. Dang, if it was a real encyclopedia, who knows? So Heimlich, and then all the souls come out. It's a weird effect. It looks weird. It's jarring, but you know. And then you know, Muffy realizes it's a good werewolf. She's like, good werewolves, soul sucking. Salesman. I need to think about maybe it's gonna be weird. I don't know, but maybe she misunderstood the world. I don't know. But after this, the factory room is like, well, now that's gone, maybe you and I could do something. She's like, I'm not into all the weird stuff. Like I said, I was, and actually, my name's not Vesper. She's wearing a wig. It's an obvious wig, but she takes it off. She goes, my name's Muffy, the werewolf slayer. And I just went, they just did that, didn't they? She's blonde, and he's like, you were so hot, and she smiles. Nowadays, probably get slapped with some kind of lawsuit for that, but I don't know. Maybe some women like being called hot. Who knows? You know, look at people like, don't objectify me or the women, and then go out and be like, and then go out dressed all sexy and be like, don't objectify me. Look at my tits. A great example of that is Megan Fox, because she had that whole thing. She was so mad that the people who marketed Jennifer's Body objectified her. And have you seen how she dresses now? Double standard. It's like, don't objectify me in those ads. Now she goes out and look at my tits. You know, it's just, you know, it's a double standard type thing. But some people, women aren't like that. I'm not a judge. I'm just saying. Except for Megan Fox. I'm just saying. She has no legs to stand on when it comes to that, because she's so contradictory in every single way. But, off of that topic. So, even though she says she's not interested, she kisses Martin anyway, and then leaves. And then we get the monologue. The soul sucker went to some kind of therapy, I guess. And then the parents are back to normal. They're going through their midlife crisis now, which Merton mentioned earlier. And then Muffy is getting her own TV show. In a world where they already mentioned Buffy, or I don't think they mentioned her yet, but they do mention Buffy later. It's just kind of weird how they would put that in there. They mentioned Sarah Michelle Gellar already as a lead for his one screenplay he was working on in the episode 3, was it? I don't know. But yeah, it was fine. This is not one I go back to, but it was fine for what it was. It is a bit jarring when you hear the title Muffy the Werewolf Slayer, and the first thing you see is the soul-sucking salesman. It always throws me off, because I'm like, okay, what's the next one? And I click it, and it's like, soul-sucking salesman. Oh, this is the Muffy episode, but because it doesn't say the episode title, so I have to figure out what it is when it plays. Except for I know the next episode, and I can't wait, because the next one's one of my favorites. Prince Budalmar the Lesser. Can't wait to talk about that one. But that's for the next one. So, yeah. Thank you. See you in the next one.